The Republican headquarters in New Mexico looks like a disaster zone. It is suspected arson, or what I would describe as a terrorist attack. The images we can see on the screen show the front door has been totally torched, the building suffering heavy damage. And this, of course, on the heels of an ongoing slate of terror attacks against Tesla, for which Elon Musk has said, we shouldn't be going after the puppets. We should be arresting those who fund these protests. Of course, he's directly referring to prominent Democrat billionaire personalities who have also, in turn, been heavily critical of Elon Musk. Now, the funny thing about the story is the media then frames it as though Elon Musk is saying we should be arresting the organizers of the protests. No, Elon said the people funding it, and he has been clear who he believes is funding it. Notable influences like George Soros and Reid Hoffman. This is where things get serious, my friends. We have seen this kind of attack before. We have seen Republican headquarters be shot at and shot up. We are now seeing a wave of attacks on Tesla vehicles. One of the most shocking videos I have seen yet. I'm going to play the clip for you. We have the full video showing a woman being beaten by a man literally in the street. I kid you not. He pulls in front of her Tesla vehicle, blocking her from being able to move. She's pinned between the curb and his car. He jumps out, runs up to her car with her windows open, and he begins striking her in the face over and over again. This woman was 61 years old. Stories like this keep popping up. It is getting crazy out there, my friends. So we're going to talk about all the news we got for you. Welcome to the Rumble Morning Live lineup. My name, of course, is Tim Pool. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club for shouting us out this live hour. Before we get started, my friends, head over to castbrew.com where we got a special offer for you guys. Use promo code RUMBLE30 and you will get 30% off all of your purchases. Definitely take advantage of that Ian's Graphene Dream, now back in stock with limited supplies. And I'm not quite sure if we've got that, still no luck of the Seamus, but Mr. Bocus, Focus with Mr. Bocus is available. He was our cat, rest in peace. As well as Misty Mountains, Costa Rican blend. Don't forget to also join our Discord server at timcast.com so you can be an active participant in this culture war, not just a passive observer. Our Discord server, we've got tens of thousands of members, and you can join up. There's fitness channels. There's channels in the Discord to help you start your project, make comics, make music, make podcasts, and a captive audience where they're all having these conversations. Don't forget to also join Rumble Premium. I know many of you already are, but if you haven't joined, use promo code TIM10 for Rumble Premium to get access to the Green Room podcast at rumble.com/TimcastIRL and our 8 p.m. live conversation show. It's going to be great. Tonight on the show, we have Winston Marshall. So it's going to be pretty dang epic, my friends. Again, smash that like button. Share the URL to the show right now everywhere you can. Let's make it the biggest show in the nation, as we have been for the past couple of weeks. Here's the story from the Mirror. New Mexico Republican HQ looks like bomb site after arson attack and KKK message. Images circulating on social media show severe damage to the front of the New Mexico Republican headquarters after an arson attack on Sunday. My friends, also get in those Rumble rants. Post your comments and chats. We'll read them toward the end of the show. Let's read. The FBI is investigating a suspected arson attack at New Mexico's Republican Party headquarters that left the front of the building resembling a bomb site. Photographic evidence that emerged Sunday showed structures charred throughout the front hall and the words ICE equals KKK graffitied in red spray paint onto the edifice of the building. The Albuquerque Police Department confirmed to the Mirror US that the FBI and the Justice Department's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms are conducting an arson investigation. Nobody was injured. We can see here they spray painted ICE equals KKK on the building. The state's Republican Party believes this was a targeted attack. We are deeply relieved that no one was harmed in what could have been a tragic and deadly attack. Those who resort to violence to undermine our state and nation must be held accountable, and our state leaders must reinforce through decisive action that these cowardly attacks will not be tolerated. She added that her office is working with local and federal law enforcement as well as the ATF to crack the case, adding that her office intends on prosecuting the offenders. It's terrifying. The attack comes amid a rise in mass political protests at Tesla sites and vandalism to Tesla vehicles, from egging to graffiti, as CEO Elon Musk helps the Trump admin carry out its controversial axing of the federal government. I just want to stress how they wrote that. The axing of the federal government. Like, literally just get rid of all of it. Wow. A few days prior, the word Nazi and a swastika were etched onto a Tesla Cybertruck in Brooklyn, according to the NYPD. The White House has condemned the attacks on Musk's companies as deplorable. So the date we have on this story just from yesterday, and very, very terrifying. The attack happened yesterday as well. Now, I can't play the full video. I can't play the full video. A TikToker instructing individuals to shoot federal agents. This is not an exaggeration. I mean, therefore I am on X says, TikToker who encouraged people to shoot at ICE agents is a real estate agent in Michigan. This is publicly available information, I will stress. And we can see here that he's instructing people to shoot federal agents. I can't play the full video because he gives its explicit instructions on how to commit federal offenses and murder. So I'm just going to, it's up there. It's up there. This is crazy stuff, my friends. Now, we do have a video for you that I want to show you just how serious things are getting in terms of the attacks on individuals who own and operate Tesla vehicles, as it is not just about going after federal law enforcement. The man in that video is basically saying that because feds can operate in plain clothes, he went on to, the first thing he says was for people to commit those crimes. He calls on them to do it. I do think we are going to see many more criminal charges. Right now, we have a story. I do believe I have it pulled up. Florida woman charged with felony after allegedly vandalizing Tesla with chewing gum. Now, while the left says this is an overcharge, the woman used the chewing gum to damage the mechanism on the electronic handle of the vehicle. For those that aren't familiar, Tesla vehicles have electronic door releases. On a Model S particularly, where they retract, gum would be very damaging to these mechanisms. The left is trying to argue that she simply stuck gum to a car, whereas this is more akin to sticking the gum into the keyhole to destroy the locking mechanism. Now, take a look at this video we have. It's only a few minutes long. Yeah, both of these from a local outlet in Flagstaff. I want to play the video for you now. Take a listen to this.
Victims have had their Teslas for years, long before Elon Musk ever got into politics. But that's not stopping people from coming after them. One woman we spoke to was just driving down the road when all of a sudden an angry driver cut her off, got out of the vehicle and assaulted her. And the whole thing was caught on camera.
We've seen the violence building in cities across the country. Tesla vehicles set on fire in Las Vegas. Graffiti on Tesla cars in Colorado. A man caught on camera keying a Model X in Dallas. And now Tesla owners under attack in Arizona.
I'm just appalled. I didn't buy my car for a political statement. I bought my car because it's really fun to drive. And my politics have nothing to do with that. And I'm ashamed of our society and what they're doing.
This is video of a Tesla attack in Flagstaff last week. It shows a green car pulling up next to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the vehicle in. The driver then walks over to the 61-year-old woman in the Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's behind the wheel.
I started to say, "You cut me off. What's your problem?" But I don't know how much of that got out, and he started to punch me with a closed fist.
At one point, the victim, who wants to hide her identity, says she bit the man's hand. Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off. The incident is among the latest attacks on Arizona Tesla drivers, being targeted because of the car they drive. We also spoke to a woman who told us she left a grocery store in Flagstaff recently and found a note on her car that said, "When she's a Nazi and a loser."
I will just stress there is a very, very big difference between someone writing a little note and calling you bad names and another where the guy jumps out and starts punching you in the face.
Later, she received a threatening text calling her a racist, POS.
It's wrong, it's deplorable, and I don't know how much of that got out. And he started to punch me with a closed fist.
Later, she received a threatening text calling her a racist, POS.
It's wrong, it's deplorable, and I think they're just hurting people. They're not really hurting a company or Tesla.
Both of the Tesla owners targeted have recently signed up for a gun safety course at a gun range north of Flagstaff.
They were targeted because they drove a Tesla, and as a result of that, felt quite vulnerable. They were surprised that someone would actually do something like that, and realized that if they are doing it, and they're targeting them because of the car they drive, that they needed to take some additional measures to help protect themselves.
Now, the man accused of assaulting that woman in her Tesla has been cited and is scheduled to appear in court on Monday. We've also learned that a takedown Tesla campaign will kick into high gear this weekend with more than 200 protests planned at Tesla dealerships around the world. Several of those protests are planned here in the Valley. Whether they remain peaceful, we'll let you know. Reporting live.
Whether they remain peaceful, we will let you know. Well, that's where we're at. You know, again, I'll stress, if I walked out and I saw my car had a note on it, well, for one thing, Sentry mode on my Tesla is filming everything all the time, so I have you on camera doing it, but I don't really care about that. You want to leave a note on my car? Whatever, I'll throw it away. If you want to box me in, they mentioned it. In Arizona, they understand exactly where this is going and how they frame their story. These women have begun taking gun safety classes. The next time one of these deranged individuals boxes someone in their car, especially in a place like Arizona, that guy got out, ran up and started punching her in the face. Don't be surprised if she grabs her gun and bang, out the side of her door. This is how scary things are getting. I mean, people are absolutely psychotic right now. It is a car, people. You don't see people driving Volkswagens, running, getting attacked. That was the Nazi car, by the way. Now, Elon Musk is calling for the arrest of those who are funding these protests. I do find it quite funny, to be completely honest, that the way the media is framing these stories is, in fact, that he wants to go after the organizers. No. He said, who funds them? This is from Marca.com. Elon Musk is fed up with attacks on Tesla. It's time to arrest those who encourage them. That's the quote they wrote. Okay. Here's the actual tweet. It is time to arrest those funding the attacks. Really? Is that? I want to make sure here Elon didn't then say something else after the fact, because it sounds like a fake quote. Elon Musk tweeted, "It is time to arrest those funding the attacks. Arresting their puppets and paid foot soldiers won't stop the violence." Interesting. Well, according to the press, they say the Tesla founder calls for arrests against the instigators of the riots, which would be organized, according to Musk. That's fake news. Why the fake news? Honest question. Elon Musk has come out in the past accusing individuals specifically of those who were funding these protests. And I believe I have it right here. March 9th, 2025. Musk claims George Soros, Reid Hoffman are funding protests against Tesla. Now, if that's what he's saying, an investigation has found 5 ActBlue funded groups responsible for Tesla protests. He says ActBlue funders include George Soros, Reid Hoffman, Herbert Sandler, Patricia Baumann. Let's pull this up. He says Patricia Baumann and Lee Hunt Hendricks. ActBlue is currently under investigation for allowing foreign and illegal donations in criminal violation of campaign finance regulations. This week, 7 ActBlue senior officials resigned, including the Associate General Counsel. If you know anything about this, please post in replies. Thanks, Elon. 5 ActBlue funded groups responsible for Tesla protests: Troublemakers, Disruption Project, Rise and Resist, Indivisible Project, and the Democratic Socialists of America. He says ActBlue funders include Soros, Hoffman, Sandler, Baumann, and Hunt Hendricks. Now, perhaps they're concerned about actually saying what Elon said. Those who fund them. If they're being funded through ActBlue, then maybe Elon is saying to arrest those who are running ActBlue. But I think the only way you can actually take this post, whether Elon intended it or not, is that he's saying the people who are providing the funding to these organizations, to these protests, that many people have investigated and said, yep, they're helping to organize these things. Well, he's saying they should be arrested. Elon Musk's patience seems to have run out. The attacks that Tesla facilities and owners have been suffering in recent weeks, which had their most aggressive episode in Las Vegas with a Molotov cocktail attack on one of the brand's centers, have made the richest man on the planet explode. And he has publicly expressed his exasperation. I would like to clarify that additional missing context. Vegas wasn't just firebombs. The individual used a rifle to shoot at cameras on the building, meaning he was aiming a rifle into the air and shooting it more than once and missed those cameras. My friends, bullets come down. So not only is that a very serious crime, he then vandalized the front of the building with resist and spray paint, and then began to unload his rifle onto the Tesla vehicles before setting them all on fire. This is a public mass shooting. Now, perhaps when you say mass, the implication that people usually bring is multiple victims. Then give me a better term for it. This was an individual unloading a rifle and spraying it at random at a car dealership. He could have killed a janitor, a porter, a salesman. Who knows? Who knows? I believe the attack was at night, but again, you don't know who's there. They say his strong involvement with Trump's Republican candidacy for president of the United States and his participation now effectively in the government, in addition to his taking sides in Germany with the far right, have created a breeding ground that in the United States, taking sides in Germany, AFD, have taken to the extreme to the point where even Tesla owners can be the subject of ire. A rather graphic example of all of this are the images circulating on social networks with Tesla models camouflaged with logos of other manufacturers such as Toyota, Audi, or BMW. The fact that the South African tycoon seems to have reached his limit and has asked for law enforcement to intervene against the root of the problem. Quote, it's time to arrest those funding the attack. So here we have a video that he brings up, which just shows a man wearing appears to be a MAGA hat in a Cybertruck. Here's that video for you. Let's turn that cacophony down.
Okay, come on, bring it on. Bring it on. Fuck you, Nazi. Fuck you, Nazi. Go fuck yourself. I love you. You are a shame. If you only thought. I feel very, very sorry for you.
No, you don't. When she says, I feel sorry for you, the intention with that line is to make that man, she's trying to make him feel like he is beneath her. Like, I feel bad for what you are doing. It's a manipulation tactic. They're also at the same time chanting shame.
Shame. You're just a little man. Little man. You know what? Good for you. Just about. I'm sorry. We need you out of the road, please.
So these protesters, when they say things like this, they don't mean it. She says, you're just a real little man. Lady, the guy's got a $100,000 Cybertruck. I don't think he cares what you think. But this is the game they play. It's why they chant shame. They want you to feel social pressure and feel scared that they will win this culture war and you will be on the wrong side of history. But you know what, my friends? When faced with extreme pressure, when faced with violence, it is the strongest and noblest of men and women, because we're progressive here, who stand firm in the face of danger, and they say, no, you're not going to move me. I know what is and what is not, and y'all are nuts. Take a look at this from the Seattle Times. Growing Tesla protests put pressure on Musk at showrooms in Seattle and the U.S. And a woman is holding a sign that says, fire Musk with a Cybertruck aflame. They are calling for terror attacks. They are engaging in extreme violence. From the lowest tier of street harassment, rising up to actually shooting at and burning vehicles, attacking drivers, attacking dealerships. And now, someone's firebombed a Republican HQ. Not the first time. I don't believe it will be the last. Crazy times indeed, my friends. Now we have this from Newsweek as well. Elon Musk vows to prosecute anti-Tesla protest organizers. Time to arrest. Once again, I highlight this because I am sick of the lies. That is not what the man said. That's not what he said. He said those funding the attacks. Why all the lies? Elon Musk called on Sunday for the arrest and prosecution of organizers behind anti-Tesla protests. No, he didn't. He explicitly said not to waste time with the puppets. Again, arresting their puppets and paid foot soldiers won't stop the violence. They're puppets and paid foot soldiers. He's not talking about the organizers. He's talking about funding. Here's the story, as I mentioned before. Fox News reported that Elon Musk is blaming nationwide protests against his electric car company Tesla on left-wing billionaire George Soros, billionaire Democrat mega donor and LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, and others, claiming they are bankrolling the destructive protests. The protests at dealerships and other locations have occurred even as some Tesla vehicles and charging stations have been damaged and destroyed. Though it is not clear that the protests and the vandalism are linked, Musk, Tesla's CEO, took to a social media platform on X Sunday morning to say that an investigation around 5 ActBlue funded groups were responsible for the protests. And here we have this. Reid Hoffman has responded as of yesterday morning. LinkedIn co-founder claps back at Elon Musk. Many people don't like you. Here is the challenge that we face, my friends. We know the purpose of what these protests are for. But can you really prosecute the people funding a nonprofit? If these groups are receiving money, let's say even directly, let's say Reid Hoffman gives money to an NGO, a Democrat NGO, that NGO goes and commits crimes. How do you put the criminal blame on Reid Hoffman? At this point, if you can connect the violence and vandalism to that group, perhaps they're providing aid and support to crimes. The challenge is the purpose of the protests is to rile people up. Those people then take it upon themselves in their blind, infantile rage and commit acts of terrorism. Reid Hoffman's just going to say, we peacefully protested. We don't support the violence. But you know, ain't none of these people shed a tear when they encourage and incite this degree of violence. There is evil out there, my friends. There is evil. The Tesla CEO said there was a 100% chance that Hoffman was supporting anti-Musk protests via the progressive organization Indivisible, causing Hoffman to respond by saying that many people don't like you. Musk has become increasingly engaged in the protests against Tesla, which have continued throughout the second Trump administration. This we understand. On Saturday, a series of posts from Alexandra Mertz, a self-described Elon fangirl on X, and you know what? I'm just going to pause. They wrote on X, formerly Twitter, for the love of all that is holy. I despise journalists so much. No one cares nor needs that written in an article. Anyway, just a pet peeve. She alleged that Hoffman was a major donor of Indivisible, an organization that has organized several protests against Tesla. Musk replied to the post saying, Reid will have many layers between himself and the organizations attacking me, but the probability is 100% that Reid is funding them. 100%. Now let me pull up this post here and let's align this here timeline. This is a post from Alexander Mertz. Reid Hoffman, ? Major donor to Indivisible, organizer behind the protests, up to $200 reimbursement for protesters. Breadcrumbs. This is an image from Western Decline to which she was responding. Reid Hoffman is a major funder of Indivisible, a group actively funding and organizing anti-Musk demonstrations at Tesla showrooms, factories, and dealerships, events that have led to widespread vandalism. Indivisible explicitly offers reimbursements up to $200 for groups staging protests against Musk at Tesla locations nationwide. So how can Hoffman claim he never funded the protests? Elon Musk's response at 4:28 p.m. March 30th. Reid will have many layers between himself and the organizations attacking me. The probability is 100% that Reid is funding them. 100%. At 11:30 a.m. that morning, Elon Musk said, it is time to arrest those funding the attacks. Several hours later, he then said, Reid is funding them. 100%. Interesting. Hoffman responded. The probability, many people don't like you, 100%. Probability that Tesla polls need to be rigged by bots to cover the fact that people don't like you, 100%. Probability you'd rather make ish up about me than fix your problems, 100%. Very interesting stuff. Whether we actually get to that point where he gets arrested, I highly doubt it. But take a look at the videos. Take a look at the videos. This is all inspired by the mass PR campaigns. Certainly there are people who hate Elon Musk. Duh, they're protesting. But how do they get organized? For these people that we've seen, in one instance, a man torched a bunch of charging stations and then spray painted "Long Live Ukraine." What does that have to do with USAID, Doge, or Tesla? It doesn't. These people are cultists.
What the hell?
We don't need this audio. Here's a guy with a pair of pliers who goes and starts just slashing up the steel side of a Cybertruck. There's more. Do I have another one? Okay, so that's the only one I had, other than we did have this one from Arizona. But I in reference to the it's a cult, I really want to play this clip for you, proving it. Look, I know that I can show you guys videos that seem to make no sense and stories where you're like, I don't know where their ideology aligns, but you need only hear it from Hassan Piker himself. They don't know why they're mad at Elon. Take a look.
That's not how.
So this is Elon's son and Hassan Piker generally just complaining to give you the setup. The important point comes about a minute in when they try to create some kind of logic as to why they oppose an electric car company.
Happening, people. It's a marketing scheme.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it would take to colonize Mars? Do you know how long it would take to terraform that thing? It's a marketing scheme that everyone somehow falls for. This is my native language, I promise. That everyone somehow fell for, despite being like debunked by a Google search.
So let me just point out, no one actually, there's no belief that it will happen. Elon Musk says he wants to terraform Mars. Some 15 years ago, he said he'd do it in 10 years. It's not happening. But is he working towards it? I don't know why he's building a gigantic starship. Sure, marketing, I guess. It sounds great. Who cares?
Like, are you serious?
No, I do think that we are progressively getting dumber and dumber as a society. Is one of the things that I yell about quite a bit.
I'd like to just point out the video in question I am showing you proves Hassan correct. Dunning-Kruger, Hassan, Dunning-Kruger. You know, I can tell you this. I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the world. I don't think I'm the smartest guy on the planet. In fact, I think I'm not that smart because I look at the success of many other shows and podcasts and I'm like, dang, how do they do it? I don't have the capability to figure it out. They figured it out. Good for them. I can't. I get to where I'm at. But it's funny when Hassan then says we are getting dumber as a society. Then he says this.
But this was, I mean, you're nailing a lot of the reasons why I was always initially annoyed with Elon Musk from the jump because of all of this stuff where it was like, this is not happening. Like, I remember having these conversations with like the donut media guys who were like car guys, right? And I was like, on paper, I'm supposed to love this person because like, this is supposed to be like a green energy focused person who, but he's not exactly. I'm saying like on paper, he's supposed to be like leading the charge on renewable energy and electric vehicles and yet, you know, he's such a fucking douchebag.
10 years? 10 years that facade worked? God.
Yeah.
No,
but I mean, okay, so but all of these lies though, it still seems to work because
wow, I get it now. Elon was supposed to be this renewable energy guy leading the charge on electric vehicles and yet, you know, he's an effing douchebag. Wow, that proves it. If you're working towards climate change, if you actually have one of the largest, if not the largest electric car company in the world, but you're an effing douchebag, you're not actually fighting climate change. I want to play that for you one more time because this line, in my opinion, proves the cult so beautifully.
Like, this is supposed to be like a green energy focused person who, but he's not. Exactly. I'm saying, like, on paper, he's supposed to be like leading the charge on renewable energy and electric vehicles and yet, you know, he's such a fucking douchebag.
The reality is, there is no response. Two things we get from this when he says, and yet, you know, he's an effing douchebag. And that's a quote. If you are a douchebag to these people, meaning they find you, they hold you in disdain, you are not leading the charge on climate change. Well, hold on a minute. Factually, Elon Musk is leading the charge on renewable energies and electric vehicles. 100%. It's a fact. They have no answer. They have no logical answer as to why they oppose him. First point. But he's a douchebag. Second point. It's a cult. It doesn't matter if you are doing things that they say should be done. If you oppose them on anything else, that's the cult. You could literally be the world's richest man, creating renewable energy vehicles more than anyone else, making them popular, making them cool. But if you oppose them anywhere else, you're a bad guy and you're not actually doing those things. Now, I can tell you this. I can take a look at any Democrat who's engaged in something that I like. Notice when Anna Paulina Luna and AOC said they wanted to cap credit card interest rates. I said, hear, hear. And the libertarians recoiled. No. If they do something good, I say, fine, do that. Not that I trust AOC, but if we can get some things done that we think should be good, I'll take it. You can see here, they don't care. This is why they're firebombing the cars. They don't care about climate change. They don't care about green energy. They care about absolute adherence to the cult. That's why it's a cult. You've got no reason. Look, you want to not be a cultist? I'll tell you something. You come out and say, Elon is bad for the government. He's firing people and making mistakes. I can't stand into that, but I don't think we should be attacking these vehicles. I mean, electric cars are good, right? Ro Khanna did that. Now, personally, I like what Doge is doing, so I'm a fan all around. I praise Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna came out and said, I don't like what Doge is doing. I have serious concerns, but why are we attacking electric vehicles? Elon only owns about 12 or 13% of the company as it is. In Minnesota, they hold or did hold 1.6 million shares of Tesla in their retirement pension accounts. And Tim Walz was mocking the company for stock value going down. That doesn't bother Elon. The dude can't be richer. He's the richest guy ever. He may actually be the world's first paper trillionaire at some point. But the point is, Elon wants for nothing. And you want to make a complaint? He's going to get government contracts on SpaceX. During the Biden administration, he wasn't getting it. But SpaceX just saved those astronauts. What should have been a national moment where people come together and they watch on the TV as these astronauts come to Earth. And it was, for some people, it was the highest rated live stream on the internet. These other people didn't care because they live in a crackpot cult reality. And this, I think, breaks it down so beautifully. And you want to know where we're at? They're now trying to ban Tesla sales. I can't say I'm surprised. New York moves to ban Tesla sales, cites massive issues with Elon. This story being reported from Mario Knopfel. My friends, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel. Share the show with everyone you can. It really does help. Let's read this from Mario Knopfel. New York lawmakers are coming for Tesla's direct-to-consumer model, and Elon is the reason why. A new bill introduced by State Senator Pat Fahey would strip Tesla of its 5 existing sales licenses by 2026, opening the doors for rivals like Rivian and Lucid to grab the permits. If it passes, Tesla would be effectively banned from selling cars directly in the state. This isn't about EVs, one source said. It's about Elon. Critics are calling it a targeted takedown, weaponizing policy to punish the man, not the company. This should be a serious case for the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. Swiftly. This is crazy. In response to Elon Musk, we can see Matt Gaetz and Sawyer Merritt breaking the story down. Sawyer Merritt on X, EV Space Tech News, bring you the latest news in a single easy-to-read feed. New York lawmakers are targeting Tesla's ability to sell cars directly to consumers. If the bill passes, it would maintain a cap of 5 licenses for electric vehicle manufacturers statewide, but allow other companies like Rivian and Lucid to compete for those permits, effectively cutting Tesla out of the state. Matt Gaetz responds, the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division should launch a grand jury investigation into this immediately. Indeed. I don't know how much this matters, my friends. I don't know how much this matters. What I mean to say is, perhaps on the macro scale, it matters none. But on the micro scale, it is a grain of sand being added to the heap, much like this additional story I have. San Francisco Standard caught on video. Cybertruck vandalism marks Bay Area's 3rd Tesla attack in 2 weeks. Indeed. The story I mentioned earlier. Woman charged with felony after allegedly vandalizing Tesla with chewing gum. Indeed. The reason why I say it doesn't matter. I don't know that we're at a point where people don't already know. But if they don't, they will be made to know. Now, we look across the pond. We look at Europe. Now, across the pond usually references the UK, but we look at Europe. And I got a couple stories for you. Marine Le Pen found guilty of embezzlement and banned from the next election. Of course, this story was massive. I covered it this morning on my early 10 a.m. segment. Marine Le Pen, Romania's right-wing leader. Let me make sure I get his name right because I think I'm Kalin Georgescu. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I digress. He was banned from running. Bolsonaro in Brazil. This is the playbook. What we are looking at street level and at the stock level, I mean, guys, you tell me. Common Dreams. Donald Trump, the treasonous Confederate Army's last general. They published this story March 26th. You get the point. I ask you all, my friends, these granular stories of the far left engaging in terror attacks, vandalism, violence, going back to the original from the Mirror, a suspected arson attack at the New Mexico Republican headquarters. It's terrorism. We've been watching these things happen. We know what these mean, what these attacks mean. Donald Trump's lawyers were arrested, criminally charged, and liberals will defend to the death that this was the right thing to happen. You've got terror attacks happening all across the country on vehicle owners. In Europe, you've got Marine Le Pen and Georgescu being, again, probably pronouncing his name wrong, being barred from running for office. The AfD will likely be next in Germany. Bolsonaro in Brazil, all the same. I think it's fairly clear to see that the macro scale, we have the snowball rolling down the hill has become self-sustaining, as it were. I hope for this country that this is the last-ditch effort of a violent and psychotic movement that won't be able to muster anything up. But the attacks are escalating at an administrative level, so I don't know what to expect. What I can say is, from the ground up, it's become more organized. The swatting's more personal. Now an attack on the GOP HQ. Again, we've seen these before. The difference being Donald Trump is, he's in office. Maybe now Trump will get serious. It seems that he may be. Felony charges being dropped, not dropped as in put away, but as being placed upon these individuals. In response to this story about the one who got a felony for putting chewing gum and damaging the mechanism of this vehicle, the left is claiming that Trump is overcharging his political opponents, despite the fact that, as we all know, individuals who drove over rainbow flags and skidded on them in their cars were charged with felonies as well. The overcharging exists. And again, as to why I say it doesn't matter. The story doesn't matter in that it's not going to change anyone's mind. It's going to be used to only fan the flames of either side. If an individual firebombs a Tesla on the left, they cheer for it. Not making it up. They literally did. Jordan Klepper on The Daily Show said, wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic violence. I'm sorry, domestic terrorism. I don't know why I said violence. They laughed and they cheered for it. When Jimmy Kimmel mocked the same thing, insinuating they should attack the cars, they cheered for it. Stephen Colbert, they cheered for it. So when they see these charges and they say, oh no, it's an overcharge, it doesn't matter. They're cheering for the attacks, and they're angry when Donald Trump stops these attacks. So my friends, that's not going to change. And now that we're seeing them targeting corporations like Tesla, trying to ban them effectively from states, booting them from auto shows. Again, that was Canada. You can see how they're trying and they're engaging in what I would refer to as a standalone complex. I don't think it's a conspiracy. This is civil strife, and it's how these things bubble up. The media would tell you it's a conspiracy theory to argue that the protests are organized. They're going to say Elon Musk, without evidence, pushes a conspiracy theory that the protests are organized. But as it pertains to civil conflict, civil strife, civil war, or any kind of conflict, it's more of a zeitgeist, a cultural trend, a cultural phenomenon. This is how you go beyond the conspiracy stage and get into mass conflict. These individuals that are damaging the Teslas and attacking them, they don't need instruction. They're not being told where to go or when. They are blind with rage, and they don't care if they go to prison. Now, many of them are stupid. They don't realize that Teslas all have cameras on them built in, recording in every possible direction. Donald Trump's administration and local law enforcement will begin arresting and charging these people. Some of them will get terror charges or hate crime charges. The left will use that as evidence. In the meantime, they are trying to short Tesla stock and damage the value. They believe, and this is actually, if you got to follow these left-wing subreddits. Let me see if I can actually pull this one up for you. They believe, here we go. Actually, is there a better source than this? Newsweek. Could Elon Musk face a margin call over Tesla stock? They say Tesla shares were changing hands at $225.31 ahead of Wednesday's market opening. This is from March 19th. They say the electric vehicles giant, blah, 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 rally, it's been going down, et cetera, et cetera. According to a 2024 Tesla filing with the SEC, Musk has pledged 238 million shares as a collateral to secure certain personal indebtedness. At the time, Musk held a total of 715 million shares, meaning approximately 1/3 were being used as collateral for personal loans. Musk currently owns around 411 million shares, 12.8%. It is unclear how many of Musk's shares are currently collateralized, the loan-to-value ratio agreed by lenders. In late March 24, the time of Tesla's SEC filing, Tesla's share prices stood around $180. According to certain reports, Tesla's stock would have to decline to $114 for Musk to face margin calls on these loans, equating to a 50% drop from its current price and below the minimum price targets currently set by analysts. Tristan Snell, legal commentator, said Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter was financed by borrowing money. He used his Tesla stock as collateral. If Tesla stock keeps crashing, the banks and creditors could repossess Twitter. Not anymore, which makes you wonder. Elon used XAI to purchase X, which is now bundled up in his AI company with a massive valuation. I think it's around $80 billion. Many people pointing out that XAI is now the leader of the pack in terms of AI because of the access to the social media user base called the Firehose. Will Lockett recently wrote that should Musk face a margin call, he would either need to be bailed out by a private investor or let the bank liquidate his assets, including Tesla, SpaceX, and X. Tesla in its 2022 annual filing said, If Elon Musk were forced to sell shares of our common stock, either that he has pledged to secure personal loan obligations or in satisfaction of other obligations, such sales could cause our stock price to decline. The company added, "We are not a party to these loans, which are partially secured by pledges of a portion of the Tesla common stock currently owned by Musk. If the price of our common stock were to decline substantially, Mr. Musk may be forced by one or more of the banking institutions to sell shares of Tesla common stock to satisfy his loan obligations. If he could not do so through other means, any such sales could cause the price of our common stock to decline further. Despite slowing sales, et cetera, blah, 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 people are bullish on Tesla. Analyst price targets for Tesla compiled by Yahoo Finance currently range between 120 and 550 with an average of 340. Now here's the post from the David Pakman Show subreddit. Let's make it bigger to see. If Tesla goes below $114, Musk will get margin called. This forces him to liquidate his shares, which will send Tesla stock into a death spiral, and his whole empire will crumble. Musk will do anything to prevent this, and Trump will too, so keep the pressure on." This is their game. Let me pull up the Tesla Takedown website so you can see exactly what they want to happen. I don't know if 114 is the appropriate number for a margin call. In fact, many leftist activists have questioned why that would be the case. The argument being that Elon, in order to secure financing for Tesla, took out a massive loan. Wanting to buy X, took out a massive loan on Tesla. That's their argument. And that if the value of Tesla drops, those who issued the loan, being quite upset, will say to Elon, "You are now putting our loan, our collateral at risk. We don't know you can pay us back." But these people are stupid for so many reasons. For one, maybe they're not so dumb, and they're hoping this just rallies people to burn Tesla stock. But getting margin called is never a guarantee. When you're operating at this high of a level, what matters is, are you going to pay us back? The bank will go to Elon and say, "We are getting scared. Your stock is now well below where we set it as collateral against this loan. If we were to actually issue that margin call, we're only going to make back half our money. They're not going to make back everything." Or they might say he's got to sell way more of the stock and he could lose it all. But they won't do that. And Elon would not sell. He'd default on the loan and fight them in court, and Tesla would probably get some protection. So it ain't going to happen. The most likely scenario, in fact, is that they would come to him and say, "Can you pay us back what you owe us? Your stock, the collateral, is low." Elon will say, "Yep, I can." Because the collateral was never what was going to be used to pay back these stocks. These loans. Geez. What these leftists either don't understand or intentionally lying about is that when you take out a loan, you actually explain how you're going to pay it back. And if you can't, here are some assets to guard against a loss. So I want to take out a loan for $100,000. I want that loan because I want to open a smash burger restaurant. Now, wouldn't that be something? The bank says, "We'll give you the loan. How are you going to pay us back?" I say, in our first year, we expect to break even because smash burgers are popular and there's a hole in the market right now. Plus, with the massive marketing push we can make for this, we think we're at least going to break even. However, in our next year, based on the projected sales and population of the area, we believe we will be profitable. Your loans will get paid back. We will actually pay back faster than you think. How? Selling cheeseburgers. The bank then says, "What if you can't? What if you don't sell the cheeseburgers?" "Well, I've got an RV worth $100,000. You can take it." And they say, "Okay, we will issue a loan against that RV for $100,000 on your plan to sell cheeseburgers and turn a profit." Elon Musk, when he secured these loans, said, "I will make X profitable and you will get your money back. If not, look at all the shares I've got in Tesla. You can't lose." And they said, "Done." And guess what? Elon wins. With the latest evaluation putting X at $44 billion, I believe it was acquired in whole for around $30 billion. Let me just pull this up for you guys. XAI acquires X. Do we want to use Forbes? Forbes always locks us out. Here's the story. Elon Musk's XAI buys X. Here's what it means for you. Not a whole lot. It will mean that it's going to make it easier for them to utilize your posts. But what Elon has done is insulated himself from this debt. Elon Musk's AI firm XAI, has purchased X for $33 billion. He's giving some of the ownership of XAI to those who held the debt on X, formerly Twitter. He's insulating himself from these things. You know what? I can't say that I'm surprised that many of these leftists and liberals don't understand how this works, but I will stress it could all just be a lie because they want to destroy the company. And that's terrifying. My friends, smash that like button right now. Share the show with everyone you know. Shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club for rating my morning show. They did it at the start. They did it again. I really do appreciate it, Steven. It really does mean a lot to all you guys over at Mug Club. You guys are amazing. And I really do appreciate you guys watching the show. Steven Crowder owes me nothing. So it means a lot to me that he's willing to help boost my work and the work that I'm doing. And I hope that in doing the same, those that watch my show give him the time of day and watch his show as well, because it's amazing. And I'm a big fan. We'll be launching you guys off to Russell Brand in just a moment. But in the meantime, we're going to grab your Rumble rants. I believe we have Russell Brand coming up. It changes periodically, but sometimes it's Jeremy Hambley at the quartering. But I believe we will have Russell Brand ready for you guys in about an hour. But for right now, let me grab some of the Rumble rants from you guys. We have only a few, so if you want to get some Rumble rants in while you can, and I will read and answer some of those questions. Rage LB, what is up? Thanks for the Rumble rant saying, follow me for daily gaming content. Rage LB on Rumble and Rage LB3 on YouTube. Make gaming great again. Jason Dix says, who wants to wager the European left and the American left don't have their fingers in each other's puddings? That's a funny way to put it. I'll tell you that. Fluffy Wound says, after this morning's news about what's going on in Europe, what if Putin operates the way he does to keep Russia from falling to the world liberal order, just like a wartime president a la Lincoln? Indeed, my friends, absolutely indeed. But then you run the challenge of, if you don't have a coalition and trust in other people, that you can maintain your structure and your worldview, and you need to hold on to power for decades, you've got yourself there a Roman Empire problem. The fall of the Republic into the Roman Empire, and then eventually the collapse of the Roman Empire. And then the Dark Ages. You guys know that they had plumbing? Indoor plumbing in Rome. And they forgot about it. That's crazy. I'll give a shout out to my moon landing hoax conspiracy theorists, because they're like, how did we lose the technology, Tim? How did we lose the technology to shield ourselves from the radiation? Let me tell you why it's so scary if our civilization falls and communication breaks. You wonder why it is. You know, so I do believe we went to the moon because I don't think it's actually that complicated. That being said, I totally get the argument that we faked it because the Soviets beat us in every direction in the space race. But the reason why I don't think it's all that complicated is because you strap people to a rocket and fire it towards the moon. But it is a grand story, isn't it? So I can understand why people don't believe it. And I always leave room to say, you know, we get lied to a lot. I tend to lean towards, I don't think it's that hard to go to the moon. And they say like, yeah, but how do they shield the radiation? Because we can't do it today. So you have NASA in the 60s and the 70s storing everything in these boxes, all on paper. And the project ends. Why were we engaged in the Apollo missions? Because we were rivaling Russia. And we're trying to inspire the world and compete with that. There was a political reason to do so. After the Soviet Union starts fumbling and falling apart, and we realize we don't need to spend money on this, what happens? Those papers that are stored manually are put in boxes in a random government building. Do you think people track that stuff? Elon Musk just pointed out that retirements of the federal government are handled on paper out of a limestone mine. Seriously. So my argument is, guys, we lose technology all the time. It's a normal thing throughout history. So we had concrete that could set underwater in Rome, and they don't know how they did it. Now they kind of have ideas. We're saying we can figure this out. They had indoor plumbing. After the fall of the Roman Empire, everybody's kind of said, I forget. Not because they truly forgot, but because they were priorities. So the people at the time stopped building it because it was expensive and it was easier to take a dump outside or in the water. As for radiation shielding and other technologies they built, yeah, we lose it. If our society today falters and we head in that direction, as many fallen civilizations had in the past, we'll lose that technology. We will lose so much technology, it's terrifying. Look up, ask Grok, how do you make antibiotics? And you will be very surprised. I thought it was easier than this. You know, you can typically look up how to make alcohol or something, how to make gunpowder. These are common things on Google. And then I read about making antibiotics, and I was like, wow. They have to be the proper dosage. They have to be, because it's toxic and can kill you. It's crazy how hard it is. And we can lose this technology. You take a look at the ancient pyramids, the pyramids of Egypt, and still to this day, everyone argues how they actually got built. Maybe they had planks of wood on the ground, and they put the blocks on top, sprinkled with sand. And then they all had big horns and blew the horns, causing it to vibrate, and they floated the blocks. Seriously. Some people think they dug canals of water, and they strapped bags to the blocks so they would float, and then pushed them down the water. Maybe. Everybody's got an idea. We cannot let the insanity burn everything down. But I can't tell you I have a good enough answer as to how we actually avoid that. Because the sad reality is, my friends, it seems like we are headed towards a crash, no matter what. The violence, the vandalism, it's expanding, it's exploding, and it's kind of crazy, my friends. It seems to be only getting worse. We've got one chat from Dean as it says, Musk need... Oh, I'm sorry, that's on Russell Brand's. I'm like, wow, I'm reading Russell Brand's, getting that ready to pull up. Though it was a good comment. He said, Musk needs to start setting up with ex-military. Yeah. DG Edkins says, antibiotics are made from mold. Technically correct. But look at the process. I was watching a video, man. It's crazy. Monad Knox says, you're correct. Tech comes and goes. Plumbing has come and gone lots of times. However, rad shielding is only thick, heavy material, usually lead or water. Indeed, my friends, that is true, and I know it to be true. The question, of course, is ultimately just how you place it, how you align it, how you build it, and how it actually works. But I'll give you one more. When people are like, how did they get past the radiation belt, and I'm without frying the astronauts, and I'm like, they fried the astronauts. Yeah, they didn't care. But they went on to live long, healthy lives, so whatever. Who knows? The astronauts did say that they saw sparkles of light as they went into space. That's usually when the radiation is blasting you in the face and frying your optic nerve. Yeah, for real. YDE says all this craziness because Elon is trying to end the fraud and abuse with our tax money. WTF, why are people against that? They should be happy about this, but instead, they're losing their minds. Yep. They are losing their minds, my friends. And it makes no sense. It's the cult. Look, I'm sure some leftists will give you a reason, some sophistry as to why they're now going to come up with an answer, how Elon Musk isn't actually a green energy guy, but it's a ridiculous argument. The biggest electric car company in the country, nay, the world, and they're like, yeah, but, he's an effing douchebag. Is that it? It's enough for the cult, I guess. My friends, smash the like button. Share this show with everyone you know. Thank you all so much for watching this morning live, and shout out to the Mug Club. We're going to get you guys ready for Russell Brand coming up right now. I believe Russell Brand is coming up. He's not quite live yet. And I will just say, maybe we are going to have, I believe we got Russell Brand. What do we got going on? We'll see. Wow. The top live streams for March 24th. In news. The top 7 were all Rumble. Wow. Just I'm going to mention the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow. 11 out of 15 top live streams were all Rumble. Now, ain't that something? Russell Brand is about to start, my friends, so we're going to wrap this up. Send you on over to our good friend Russell. Big shout out to Russell Brand. This has been amazing. He, of course, will be talking about the Tesla attacks, and I've got the link for you right now in the chat. We'll pin that message. We're going to wrap things up, my friends. Really do appreciate all of your support. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Subscribe to this channel. Become a member of our Discord server at timcast.com. Don't just be a passive observer, be an active participant. All of you guys in these morning raids, making these shows so massive, it's a massive movement where we now have 11 of the top 15 live streams in news are Rumble. Rumble now owns the live news space online. Ain't that something? That's thanks to you guys. So I really do appreciate you guys watching. We're back tonight at 8 p.m. Timcast IRL. It's a different channel. Make sure you check it out. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all then.